Hi everyone, welcome back. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel, and I also want to thank everyone who's been sharing how these videos have helped them, because that really motivates me to continue making more such videos. And also thank you for suggesting what kind of videos you want to watch. For example, I know some of you requested for videos on R2R, treasury, top down risk assessment, more details on O2C. So yeah, I will be working on all of those topics. So today I will be speaking about one of the topics in R2R, record to report. So when we speak of record to report, it's a very elaborate process, and it involves a lot of jargon, and it requires technical understanding of not just accounting knowledge but also SAP. So it's not possible to cover all of it in one video. So what I've decided is I'm going to share some key concepts. I'm going to break it down and simplify and create short videos on each of the concept that is critical for understanding R2R. And then once you've watched those and have more clarity, we can look at each sub process and understand what are the risks and how to audit those. So if you're a complete beginner, the first question that will obviously come to your mind is, what is record to report? What is R2R? So in very simplistic terms, it is the process of recording your financial transactions and then preparing financial reports from it. Okay? Or it could even be further regulatory reports thereafter. So what are your financial records here? It could be journal entries, your ledgers, right? So whenever there are any transactions, be it purchases, sales, payments, all of those are recorded in your books of accounts, and eventually they are transformed into financial reports. So we prepare trial balance, P&L, balance sheet, all of these from these records. So that is what, in very simplistic terms, it means. So this is what, in very simple terms, represents record to report. Now, as an auditor, your role is to determine whether there are enough controls to ensure accuracy, completeness of this reporting. Okay? So, in today's video, we will cover what is a GL, what is a sub GL, and what is meant by GL sub GL reconciliation when it comes to record to report. So when you're just at the start of the career, you think, okay, we all know what's a ledger. It's so simple. It's just to record transactions, post journal entries. But when you look at the same ledgers or same entries in a complex ERP like SAP, it takes time to understand the transaction flow, to understand the terminology, to understand how it is working, how it is configured. So when you look at a pre-existing audit checklist or RCM, it will have controls around GL, sub-GL reconciliation. When you talk to the client, they will talk to you as though you know everything, when the truth is you wouldn't know half of these terms or how this works practically. So let us understand this in a very simplistic manner. So before we even go into GL or sub-GL, let us start with a very basic concept. What is ledger? So now all of us who are studying accounts would obviously know what's a ledger. It's used to record your transactions. So you will have here your debit, here your credit, right? So this is how you simplistically have ledgers. So for every type of transaction, there will be ledgers, right? So there will be cash, there will be bank account, there will be purchases, then there will be vendors, right? Sales, then your accounts receivable or your debtors. So let's say you are auditing a small company and the company has just 3 customers, A, B, C. So let's say to A, the company made a sales of 10,000, to B, 30,000, and to C, 50,000. So the total sales on credit, let's assume, is 90,000 rupees. So the company can post individual entries also, like A account debit to sales, B account debit to sales, then C account debit to sales, right? So then when you look at the balance sheet, so in the balance sheet, this is very theoretical, but this is how I would explain this to a beginner. So when you look at balance sheet, and you will have your debtors in your assets, and then you will have the amount due from each of them. So for A, you will have 10,000, for B, you will have 30,000, for C, you will have 50,000. Okay, now this is fine for a small company. What if you're dealing with a company which has thousands or millions of clients? Let's say a company like ITC, which is into FMCG, or a company like Reliance. So wouldn't they have many more clients? So in that case, is it possible for you to maintain individual accounts as ledgers, as general ledgers, and represent each of these in the balance sheet? No, it's not practical, right? So that is why we have a concept of sub-GLs. So whenever there is voluminous transactions or numerous accounts, then you have sub-GLs. So in this case, we would have one general ledger, which would be for your debtors, which in SAP terminology, we would call it as accounts receivable, right? So this will be one account, and this is what will be shown in your financial statement. So this will be shown in your balance sheet. Now, what about sub-GL then? So all your customers here, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, everyone will be having a separate sub-GL here. So in SAP, how is sales posted? Whenever the sales invoice is created, a sales entry is posted. So what happens? The individual customer account will get debited. So here, let's say to A, we make a sale of 25,000. So automatically, A's account will also be debited. So your sub-GL is going to be debited. Simultaneously, there will be a debit entry even in your GL account. So the total of all your sub-GLs, so let's say all of these total put together, say different customers, 25,000, 10,000, then another 25,000, so total is 60,000. So all of these put together will reflect in your accounts receivable. So in your GL also, you should have the same subtotal as your sub-GL. Okay. So here also you will have 60,000. So that is called your GL sub-GL reconciliation. Now practically, how does it happen in SAP? So like I already said, there will be an automatic entry in your GL account. So whenever your sub-GL account has an entry, your GL account will also have an entry, and they are connected through a control account, which is your reconciliation account. So there will be a reconciliation GL as well. So entries are automatically posted here in your reconciliation account as well. So when there's a hit here, say 25,000, then here also you should have 25,000, and here also you should have 25,000. Now practically, this doesn't happen at the same time. There will be batch processing. For example, let's say you book sales in your sub-GL on, say, Monday, and there may be a batch job that all the accumulated sales will hit the GL account after, say, 24 hours or after 2 days. So some sort of a batch job here. So at once the entire entry will be posted rather than being posted real time. So that is why at the month end there could be a timing difference between these two. So there could be a case where entries are there in your sub-GL but they are not there in your GL account. So ideally all the entries here should be automated in your reconciliation account. There shouldn't be scope for posting entries here manually, because if you do that, then there's a possibility that you are distorting this amount in your GL account, because this is the amount which will eventually go to your balance sheet. So what are some of the reasons for differences between the sub-GL and GL? So firstly, like we said, timing difference. So this can be simply solved by extracting a report of both sub-GL and GL after the batch job is duly completed, so that there is automated reconciliation between the two. Now, second reason could be that there would be a direct posting in the reconciliation account. So like I already said, the sub-GL and GL are connected through the recon account, right? Now, if entries are posted here manually. So ideally it should be automatic. So when amount hits here, it will automatically hit your recon account and from there your GL account. But sometimes the finance team may make some adjustment entries directly in the reconciliation account, which should not happen. So if that happens, there will be breaks between these two. So there will be differences. So how do you identify that? Let's say at the start of the month, both GL and sub GL had a balance of 10,000. Okay. Now, after that, let's say there was a sale of 1,000 the next day. So your sub GL got debited with 1,000 rupees. Your recon should also have been debited by 1,000 rupees. Now, simultaneously, there was some adjustment entry, some reversal that was done by the finance team to the extent of 500, and that was posted here. Okay, so now the net effect is only 500 reflects in your GL account. So here you will have a balance of 10,500 in your GL, whereas in your sub GL you will have a balance of 11,000. So that is why care should be taken to avoid this, because thereafter it can result in these breaks. And if these breaks are noticed, then there needs to be effort to reconcile. So reverse this entry, post it in an appropriate manner to fix these differences. Now, sometimes there could be other reasons like wrong reconciliation account assigned to the customer. So whenever the customer data is created in the customer master, you need to assign a reconciliation account. So whenever the invoice is generated from the customer, okay, so it will automatically hit your sub GL, and from there the recon account which is mapped to the customer. So if this recon account is not correctly tagged to the customer master, then your sub GL will have the balance, but it will never flow down to the GL account, and that will result in a break. Other reason could be there could be a change in the recon account mid-year. So the company decides that, okay, now we need to streamline our accounts. Let's use a new control account. Let's create a new recon GL. So new transactions will come into the new GL. Older transactions will be continuing to be in the older recon GL. So that could result in a difference. Or there could be system errors. So let's say the batch job didn't process properly, or there could be currency exchange differences. So all of these can result in breaks between your GL and sub GL. So now that you understand what is a GL, sub GL, you would appreciate why it is important to have a reconciliation in place so that we have accurate financial reporting. And that is why before month end close, it is very important part to have these reconciliations and to fix these differences by posting reclassifying entries or adjustment entries or correcting the sub GL balances. So I hope you found this helpful. And if you did, then please share it with your friends, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.